Yeah, what's going on, my fellow Tenno? Today we're taking a look at one of my all-time favorite Warframes, and that is the God of Bones, XAKU. Now, XAKU has always been a very strong Warframe ever since his release back in August of 2020. And throughout the past 4 years, he's undergone quite a few changes. But one thing that has plagued XAKU is he has always had, shall we say, rough survivability. Now, in the past, the best way to survive with XAKU was the shield gate, using catalyzing shields. Now, that combo can work, but it's a very hectic way to play, and you are constantly managing that function to stay alive. Well, that all changes starting today with this video. I have played XAKU for hundreds of hours and built him out in nearly every imaginable way. So I can confidently say that this build we're going to go over today is absolutely the best XAKU has ever felt. We have, with this build, ridiculously high damage, not just with our guns, but also with radiation spikes, which we'll get into in just a bit. We also have incredible survivability, literally almost unkillable, very low energy consumption, which allows us to spam our abilities at will and endlessly, which makes the God of Bones extremely fun to play. Now, before we get into it, please make sure you give the video a like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help with the YouTube algorithms, and it would be greatly appreciated. Now, let's jump in and take a look at XAKU's abilities to understand why we are subsuming over his first ability. Starting off with his passive, 25% damage reduction on AoE attacks and chance to avoid incoming weapon damage, meaning you will avoid completely 1 out of every 4 hits. Now that we understand XAKU's passive, his fourth ability takes things up a notch, a really big notch. So the Vast Untime sheds your outer skin in a blast, which in our case goes out 63 meters. Now that is basically the entire map, which makes enemies more susceptible to void damage. But the real icing on the cake with this ability is your dodge chance is now increased up to 75%, which is a big part of XAKU's survivability. XAKU's third ability, the Lost, is 3 abilities in 1, and we are using all 3 in this build. Starting off with the Accused, so allows you to turn enemies into allies, which can be very helpful, especially when playing solo, allowing you to slow down the battle and have incoming enemies attack your allies instead of you. Now, the second of the 3 abilities is Gaze. Now, when you apply Gaze to a target, it applies it to all enemies, again, in a 63-meter radius, and you can have up to 2 of these active at any time. Now, Gaze is insanely powerful because it strips the enemy, in our case, up to a 100% defensive strip, meaning you're getting rid of all shields and armor instantly, which immediately sends our damage through the roof. Now, Deny, the third ability, is a beam of void energy, which by itself is an average ability at best. But when combined with Wisp Breach Surge, which is our subsume ability, Deny becomes a vicious, deadly beam. So Breach Surge has a damage multiplier of up to 4.5 times, meaning 450% damage increase. And if that wasn't enough, Surge Sparks has a 100% critical chance and a 1.5x crit multiplier. It's because of this combination you are seeing the radiation surge sparks go into the multiple millions in the gameplay in the background. And last but not least is Grasp of Loke, which steals weapons from nearby enemies and they auto-target enemies just like Protea's turrets. Alright, a quick look at the way we have our shards set up. So we have 3 Crimson Shards for ability duration. So we got 1, 2, 3 there. And we have 1 Amber Archon Shard for max energy on spawn. I hate having no energy when we start a mission. So we have plenty of energy here. And on top of that, we're increasing the effectiveness on our energy orb. So that's how we have our shards set up. Alright, taking a look at the mods in Arcane. So I just want to say real quick, if you happen to skip part of the video and you got to this point just to copy the mods, I highly encourage you to stay for the rest of the video because the weapon and the companion we are using are critical to this build's success. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. Now, if you've seen a couple of my other videos, you're going to know that I like to build my builds strong in all categories, all ability categories. So duration, efficiency, range, and strength. I don't like to be weak in any one of those. I don't want to have to micromanage my efficiency or worry about duration at all. So I just wanted to let everybody know that most of my builds, you're never ever going to see something in a negative category it's going to be a very, very rare situation if that is the case. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. Now, molt efficiency adds 36% ability duration. So that brings our duration up to 144%. Molt augmented adds 60% ability strength. That brings us up to 254. That is way more than we need, because what we are going for on this build is a 100% defense reduction. So we need about 6 kills to get us to that defense reduction. So we'll literally get that in about 5 seconds every mission. So we easily have that 100% defense reduction. Now, what I want to get into right here is actually pretty critical. So the Grimoire. We have this set up for a few different reasons for this build. Let's get into this. So the secondary fortifier, this gives us up to 15,000 overguard. That is massive. Overguard is crazy powerful in Warframe right now. Do not discount this weapon. I promise you, this is going to be a vital piece of this build. Now, Netra Invocation. This is awesome. So when you send out an alternate fire and you hit 5 or 6 different enemies, that's going to give you 60% ability efficiency. So that's what takes our efficiency from 108 to 168. And on top of that, when our overguards run out, Fast Canticle adds shield recharge of 40% and minus 28% shield recharge delay. So as soon as our overguard runs out, all we need to do is send out an alternate fire on Grimoire. We get our shield recharges back immediately because we are spamming our abilities 1 and 4, 1 and 4, back and forth. So when we do that, we build our shields back instantly, and they're recharging even more so because of this mod. All right, as I mentioned earlier, the weakest part of XAKU is his survivability. There's no doubt about it. So what we want to do is we want to strengthen that part of him, and this is how we're going to do it with the Shade Prime. Now, the weapon the Shade Prime is using is irrelevant. You can use whatever you want here. So I like Cold and Gas. It has a lot of CC ability. If you want more damage, you can go with Viral and Heat. So experiment, go with whatever you want. This is a flex position. Now, moving over to the Shade Prime, this is critical. The Ghost mod. This has been recently updated. Let me explain this a little bit. So for a 360-degree radius, 24 meters out, as long as there is an enemy in that vicinity, you will stay cloaked. And you are going to stay cloaked using your abilities. And with XAKU, we are spamming all of his abilities, 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're constantly using them because we have high energy efficiency. We rarely need to use our weapon. But in the rare case that we do, when we come out of cloaking, what we want to do immediately is hit our alternate fire on our Grimoire, so we get all of those abilities we talked about earlier. We're going to get that overguard, we're going to get that ability efficiency, and we're going to get that shield recharge. It's an awesome combination for survivability. So make sure you don't skip out on that Ghost mod. It has been revamped recently. It actually works really well now. So make sure you set your Ghost up just like this. All right, that's going to wrap up our look at the God of Bones XAKU build. He is easily one of the most powerful Warframes, and now he has incredible survivability. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, please consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss any future Warframe videos. And to everyone who is already a subscriber, I truly thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm out.